This is the Bolder Than Most podcast, where we talk with those making bold moves in business, real estate, and life. I'm your host, Trae Jacobs. Thank you for being here. Let's jump right in. Welcome to the Bolder Than Most podcast. My name is Trae Jacobs, and today, guys, man, when I say I have the boss lady of all boss ladies, I absolutely mean that. Today, we are joined by Dr. Erin Hudson. Erin, what is up? How are you doing?
So good. Thanks so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
Yeah,
Hope to add value to your listeners today. That's what I really hope.
I don't think like whenever you open your mouth, you're basically adding value in some way. Let's be real. So Erin, you're a managing partner at Quattro Capital. There's Quattro 5. You want to talk about your team a little bit and what you guys have going on over there?
Yeah. So Quattro Capital, there is 5 of us. And people go, Quattro, you must be 4 people. Well, rest assured, we are not 4 people. We are 5. And Quattro actually stands for our values that we have, which first and foremost is people. The second is property. And of course, those properties, we hope for them to push off great profits. And then what is all encompassing is our team has a heart, a mighty, mighty heart for philanthropy. And perhaps I'll spare you and we can discuss it later, but that's pretty much how I met all the partners, was through a philanthropic cause. So super exciting. And we're doing some great stuff in the multifamily space.
I've heard the story a few times now, but share what the cause was, because I think that is super cool and really important when people need to understand about the creation of Quattro Capital.
Yeah, no, for sure. So getting to it right away, I'll try and spare you some of the detail. But when I first got into the multifamily space, I had actually had a partnership that went awry. And I was actually thinking about maybe multifamily is really not for me. And it just so happens we ended up being at a multifamily conference and they were giving me an award for that property that went kind of awry with the partnership. And they asked me how I had celebrated the close. And so I boldly shared with them, you know what? Listen, I have a big heart for philanthropy and giving back to those that can't help themselves. And at that time, I was building homes for the single mamas living in Nicaragua. And so when I closed on that first property, it was a 104 unit in Texas. I built this 13th home for the single mamas living in the trash dump. And here I was sharing this on the stage, and I felt this like in my gut that I needed to share and see if anybody else wanted to come join forces. And I kept kicking it, trying to push it away and dismiss that urge. And out of my mouth, I said, I would love to build 2 more houses if I can get 2 people to match me. And the room went in sheer silence. And I thought, what in the world did I just do? And all of a sudden, what felt was 10 minutes, probably was really just a minute. A man from the back of the room ferociously stood to his feet and he said, I'm in for 5,500. And another woman in the front row stood to her feet and said, I'm in for 5,500. And lo and behold, I'll spare you the remaining story. Those are my partners today. So there is nothing more beautiful than being linked up with a team that has a heart for other people and wants to sow goodness into the world. So
I love that so much. It's like a scene in the movie, honestly, right? Like I can just see you up there just holding the mic and it just crickets. And then, you know, it was Maurice, right? It just jumps up in the back like, oh, man. Oh, gosh. That would have been so cool to actually see.
It was an awesome moment. Let me tell you, in that 10 minutes, we raised $55,000 and built 10 homes for the single mamas. So I'm glad that I went with my gut and listened to it and spoke up. So it was awesome.
I love it. I think that speaks to your character as well as the character of your team, right? Like you guys are, what is that? Is that an abundance mindset? Well, you're putting other people's needs in front of your own, even though you're getting an award for a property that isn't going so well. You still found a way to make that bad situation a great situation. So,
amen. It just shows the heart of how we desire to impact lives for the better, right? And my big thing, if I could help spur other people on to sow goodness into our dark, dark world, how much better of a place would it be, right? And so
Right.
we're more powerful when we band together for a great cause than trying to lead the charge on our own.
And there's this thing, right? Like the good guy like never wins, right? But in this instance, you guys have been winning, 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 right? Can you speak high level to what you guys have accomplished since coming together?
Oh my goodness. Let's just say in 5 years, in less than, 4 years, we took down 29 apartment buildings. Today, we currently have 200 million assets under management. We care
Woo,
for
woo,
not
woo.
2,000, we don't provide just houses, we provide homes to over 2,000 families. And we're about impact. And that's exactly what we're doing and having great success.
Oh, I love it so much. 2,000 doors. Congratulations. Have you guys gone full cycle on any of those yet?
Oh, such a great question. Yes, we've gone full cycle. Guess how many we've gone full cycle on? Let's just make this fun. Come on, Trae. How many apartments
Hmm.
do you think we've gone full cycle on?
Hey guys, my company, Page Capital Group, is actively sourcing and buying multifamily deals. If you're looking to put your money to work, gain some tax efficiencies, and grow your portfolio while we do all the heavy lifting, go to pagecapitalgroup.com/invest. That's Page, PAIGE, capitalgroup.com/invest, and someone from our team will reach out. Now, back to the show.
I'm going to say seven. Seven.
8. So we've got
8.
full cycle on 8. And I'm super thrilled to say that we were able to get our investors over a 22% return on every single one of those. Not because one did really well and the rest rode the coattail. I'm talking about every single one of those did 22% annually or better.
Yeah.
So super
That's just,
exciting that you have great returns. It speaks.
congratulations. I'm so happy for you. You've been so successful, and I feel like I've been watching. I've only been in the space now for about 2 years, but you were one of the first people that I spoke to. Do you remember that? So long ago, our first Zoom call.
I don't remember what our conversation was
Oh, I
about.
don't either,
A
but
very unique face. And so, of course, I remember that, but I don't remember our conversation. People tell me
unique
the
face.
darndest stuff. They say, "Do you remember our conversation?" I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie. So I boldly say, "You know what? I don't. I remember you, but I don't remember our conversation." And people will literally play out the whole conversation.
Erin, did you just call me ugly? Like a unique face. I'm just kidding.
No, you can definitely stand out. It's not a common face that you have. I don't think. I didn't think that in a bad way. My gosh, that's way wrong. You're a
I'm
brat.
special. I'm special. I'm
Hold on.
special. Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Um, so all right, I have so many questions. There's so many ways I want to take this conversation, but I do want to kind of touch on your thoughts around diversification of investments, right? When you're speaking to your investments, what's kind of your your go-to there, right? Like how are you managing that?
So help me out just a little bit more. When you say diversification of your investments, are you saying what is it that I personally like to invest in, or what do you mean by that?
Both, right? When you're speaking with investors, and then we'll segue into yourself personally.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for clarifying. So I will tell you, being the director of equity relations, I'm all about raising funds, working with people. And one thing I will say is people ask me all the time, Erin, how in the world do you raise millions and millions of dollars? What is it like? Do I send them an email and I do this? And you know what I say to them? You are way overthinking it. You are making your job harder than it needs to be. Because first and foremost, it's about relationships.
Right.
And people want to, you always hear it, it may be overplayed, but people want to know you, like you, and trust you. And if you can get those three things and you can start to water the relationship at their level, not talking about investments, not talking about the latest, greatest in what you've got, really bring it about them. People want to feel special and important as well. And so it's really just finding out what makes people tick. And if you can find out what makes them tick or find a commonality, it's amazing how people want to be, I hate to say it, but it's like they're magnetized towards you. They want to do and be a part of whatever it is that you're doing. And it's such a beautiful thing and an honoring thing because it reminds me of my heart and my soul. It's to help other people win. And if you just come from a place of having a desire to help other people win, you really, really can't go wrong because the people you're going to attract it's going to be easy. You don't have to force it and be like, hey, where's your $100,000? I'm not seeing it in the bank account. Like, when are you going to be able to get it to me? Like, I don't
Right.
have those kind of conversations. I share with them, after learning a little bit about them, and I share with them a couple options in which we have and see which one is their best fit. Right. So for example, sometimes we've got something that we're offering where it's just a set return. It's an 8 to 10%, or less, it's an 8% return. Some people just want a guaranteed return. They don't have to have the upside, and they don't want any risk. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to push out the cash flow. There's others that prefer having an equity position and they want the upside. But what if you could offer both? What if you have an opportunity where you're like, hey, you've got $500,000, you want to come and play on both sides? We have investors that do that all the time. So that is really, when it comes to investing, it's really not difficult per se to raise the money as long as your heart is clean and pure for them to win.
Yeah.
So that's really as far as how that works, like with investors. And then for us, like I said, we've purchased 29 apartment buildings. So of course we have for apartment buildings. And then we also have our fixed income fund where people can put their money in and they can make that 8% guaranteed return. And they have a shorter hold period from 1 year to 3 years. So people love options, right?
I didn't realize you guys had a fund. Do you guys play with fund of funds at all?
So we actually right now have an open fund right now. We have not done any funds to funds, but perhaps in the future, it's an option for us.
Yeah. Okay. How are these investors, or how are you finding them, or how are they finding you to start building those relationships?
So your question was, how are the investors finding myself or finding my team members? Is that
Right.
So you know what? There's something beautiful that comes with numbers. When there's 5 of us that are on a mission for the same thing, right? At our firm, we buy apartment buildings, we help people win in the space. If there's just one of you, it's hard to be bold and loud enough for you to make massive moves in the space. But with 5 of us, what does that mean? It means there's 5 of us out there that are speaking at meetups, that are getting asked to be in the forefront and speak at different events, that are asking to hold webinars for them and educate. And so I think that has really been very powerful for our team.
Yeah.
But do you remember that that fourth pillar of ours that I told you that is like the heartbeat of our company?
Is it
philanthropy.
Philanthropy. Okay.
Philanthropy has been amazing for us. And imagine if you can take part in philanthropy and you don't do it in a manipulative way. If you truly have a desire to take part in something philanthropic, and you can start that within your community. Find out where there's some philanthropic causes or philanthropic groups that get together and be a part of just that, because that's probably one of my favorite ways of meeting people, because you have common alignment there. You're around people where they want to sow goodness into the community or for others. And so your conversation is about that. It's not directed as to, what do you like? Tell me about your business. Let me sell you this. Let me sell you that. That's not how philanthropic folks get together. After they meet you and that conversation has gone a little deeper, then of course they want to know, what is it that you do? So glad you're here. It's so wonderful to meet you. I'm so glad that we both share in something that is, to help the betterment of the world, right?
Yeah.
So that is like a big place in which we really meet a lot of people. But it's also because I know my team doesn't like to talk about this, but we give a lot. We give to a lot of different causes, right? And I know, like, you hear, don't give to get kudos and say, oh, you're so great, thanks for giving. And I get that. But my whole stance on this is, I want to tell the world that we're giving. Why? Because I want to link arms with them. I want to grab them and I want them to walk with me, and let's go sow goodness into the world together. And so if I can spur other people on to join forces with me, that is what gets my goat.
Yeah. I'm with you, right? Like, Quattro Capital is on the stage right now, and you tell people that you're giving, you got this guy in the background jumping up saying, I got 5,500. Let's go.
No, so it's great. So that's really what we're doing together, Trae, is just buying the apartment buildings. And then individually, I do some other investing as well. It's real estate, but I also like to diversify, although I do stay out of the stock market. That's not my forte. I'm not specialized. For those of you that kick butt in the stock market and you're waking up early and overseeing it, good for you. I'm glad that you're winning, but for me, it's not my specialty, so I'll stay out.
Same. All right, so what else you got going on?
What else have we got going on? Our big thing is right now, my son has just started up a company and it's called Stay Uncontained. And it's shipping containers being used as tiny homes. And so that is really our big thing that we're working on right now. And I guess just to give context for it, because you're probably wondering, like, how in the world does one buy a container and start selling shipping containers for tiny homes? Well, let's all be real. You have to have a POC. What is a POC? It's proof of concept. And so, yes, we started in 2019, January 2019. We got 3 shipping container tiny homes and we put them on our 5 acres where we happened to have a high-end Airbnb. And I had 2 of my kids. At the time, my 14 and 16-year-old, they each had their own little shipping container, and they came in and they furnished them both, and they started these Airbnbs that took off. And what I thought was, Trae, man, how many kids out there ask their parents for movie money, Amazon money, Del Taco money? I thought, okay, if I could just let them have their little Airbnb and all the proceeds that come in from it, we split 50-50. They get half of the proceeds, I get the other half. Of their half, they have half that goes into savings and they get the other half to spend as their money for DoorDash and all the things, right? So I don't give my kids money. They better go make that money stretch, make it work, and then they get to reap the rewards. And so every single month, or not month, every quarter, they bring me their Excel spreadsheet and we walk through it together and make sure it's all complete and accurate. And then it's payday.
Oh, I love that so much. I love it so much. I didn't realize you guys started back in 2019.
Yes.
So you started with your kids, you went out and you just, learning the ropes, floor plans, all of the logistics behind it. Where is Stay Uncontained at today?
So Stay Uncontained, actually, well, let me rewind just for a moment. When those took off, those 3 that we did, it took off like wildfire, Trae. And I thought, oh my gosh, Lord, what do you want me to do now? And so I'll fast forward that. But basically, I went on to create retreats, and we've got 2 really awesome shipping container tiny home retreats in 2 phenomenal locations. One is waterfront at the lake, and we've got 27 tiny homes, stick-built tiny homes and shipping containers. And then in Fredericksburg, just outside of Fredericksburg, Texas, by all the wineries, we've got another 14 shipping containers. And there's a winery. You walk out the door of the shipping container, and to there's a winery, and to the left, there's a winery. So we like to be positioned in the right places. So it's super, super fun.
Yeah. You said is that, are your kids, are they running those ones as well?
So nope, I've got other remember how I told you before, Trae? Let me tell your audience, I am all about helping other people win. So when I talk to my investors and I get to know them, I find out, what are their goals? What are your desires? Do you want to be active in real estate? Do you just want to stay passive? And so who better to want to help than your neighbors in your community? And so I went, after those took off, those 3, I went to some of my neighbors in the community that wanted to get in the game. And so I extended an opportunity for them to come in and help and be boots on the ground and so on and so forth. And they rose to the occasion with such excitement and a heart full of gratitude. And so I have different teams that I brought in that helped me execute on those 2 retreats.
Yeah.
Because there's a thing. It's like, I'm the visionary. I'm like the one that likes to put all of it together and what it looks like. But I don't want to be the person that's buried in the nuts and the bolts and the management and all the things. We help bring them to the property, and then we bring the right teams to come in and help.
Are these structured like JVs, or are these syndicated?
JVs. Yep.
JVs.
A couple select people. And so the exciting part is we're looking to do this in a grander way. So if any of your listeners have really great property they want to share with Trae and I and tell us more about, we just may be interested.
All right. So what makes a really great property?
Yeah. So listen, I don't want to steal too much of your time. You can tell I get super passionate about this and I could go on and on forever about it, but you want to be on unrestricted. You want to have land that's unrestricted. You want to have it outside city limits and where you can either it's got utilities already in place or where we can have well and septic. We like to run off well and septic. And really what we're looking for is, yes, we've done Airbnb tiny homes, but what I really desire is to help solve the affordable housing issue. So an ideal property would be an RV park that's no longer in play, that already has pads, that's in a great area that we can just plug and play, put the shipping containers on them and use them to help solve the affordable housing issue.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. What? So you have 20 foot and 40 foot, right?
Yeah.
Pricing wise, what are we looking at for your standard model shipping container?
Yeah. So our standard models start at $35,000 for the 20 footer and then $65,000 for our 40 footers. And your listeners may be wondering, how much can you get for these, for the rent of these? Because let's just do the math together. 8 feet wide by 20 feet long is 160 square feet for a 20-foot shipping container. Okay. 160 feet shipping container. Those will rent from anywhere from 100 to 150 a night on Airbnb with ours.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Like easy peasy, no problem. Now, when you talk about a long-term tenant in our 40-foot container, let's do the math. 40 times 8, 320 square feet.
Okay.
Check this out. We've got a tenant that leases and signed a long-term lease for $1,000 a month. So we have a tenant that's paying us $1,000 a month for a 40-foot shipping container. It's only 320 square feet. Do the math.
Wow.
So if you had a land with 10 of those and you're solving the affordable housing issue at $1,000 a month, let's do the math. $1,000 a month times 12 months is 12,000 times 10 of those, right?
120.
$20,000. And then I don't know. Anyways, I could go on and on, but basically,
man, this is gold. This is gold, man.
The utilities are next to nothing because if you're running off a well, you're really not paying for water. You're paying for the internet. Guess what my internet bill is on my little Airbnb 2 shipping containers that we have, the small ones. It's $40 for the internet that I have there. For the electricity, I'm sorry, $40 for the internet and $40 for the electricity for both of them. And then they just run off a little tiny hot water and Insta hot water heater underneath the sink.
I love it. Could you, if you had the space, could you go vertical with these?
You can. In Dallas, they've got 10 of them that was in the newspaper just a while back. 10 on the bottom and 10 on the top of 40 footers. They literally turned it into an apartment building and have 20 of them in Dallas, and they were renting for $950 a month. And this was probably about a year ago. So yeah, you absolutely could.
I am in Dallas, so I will be looking into that, and I'm going to go visit this place because that's crazy. I know. So my mom right now is in the process of looking for an apartment, and it's just so unaffordable, right? Like she is, she has a job, but she doesn't make a crazy amount of money.
Sure.
What it takes to qualify for just your basic, Class C in a decent neighborhood, it's insane. It is insane. But with these container homes, are these good for ADUs?
Say it again.
Are these good for ADUs as well?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it's hard to get them within city limits to get them approved for ADUs. So that's why I'm saying as long as it's outside city limits on unrestricted land, nobody can call the shots and it doesn't really matter. Right. So that's where it's most ideal. So you don't have so many hiccups trying to fight, permitting and so on and so forth.
And does your company, like if somebody did want to use this as an ADU, do you guys have any resources available to help guide somebody who maybe want to put one of these in their backyard?
Yeah, we can somewhat direct them, but some of the work is going to have to be done on their part, right? We don't ever want to be held responsible or liable for their county, city guidelines, right? Because we ship all over the United States. We are in San Antonio based and we ship all 50 states.
Your thoughts around like major MSAs denying this, right? Like I know in San Diego, they are allowing more ADUs because the cost of living and it's just there's not a lot of space, right?
Yep.
Do you think these major MSAs are going to be moving in that same direction?
I really do. I think that at the same time, they're really going to want to start helping their people, and they realize that we've got a housing issue. There is such a massive, massive shortage of housing right now. And so if we get solution driven on something that's affordable and easy and timely, I think that it is nothing but an absolute win. So it's really just, I hate to say it, things are political, but if you
Right.
find the right, like can niche your way into there and get an introduction to somebody that actually is a shot caller, I think that we're going to have much, much more success for sure.
I agree, man. Like 300 people move to Dallas every single day, and it's just not affordable, right? I mean,
Yep.
thankfully, we're good. I bought my house right at the right time. My mortgage is less than my mother's rent, and I have a huge house, right?
Sure.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So, what is like? Let's do a cost comparison. So, if I were to build, or how about we compare costs of your stick-built tiny homes versus your container homes, right? Is there a massive price difference there?
So I would absolutely tell you there is an absolute difference. For what we built on our double-decker stick builds, we should have built those for $150,000 for each one. Because what was I going to say? The price for building is like $150 a square foot.
Mhm.
And let's just say I got those built for $75 a square foot. There is a reason that happened though. So like, hold on a second. I want to clarify. To build a stick built tiny home, it's like $150 a square foot. The only reason that I got my stick built for $75 a square foot is because I'm a negotiating beast. The truth is I'm a negotiating beast. And when COVID happened, all of a sudden we started to have a shortage of goods. And the shipping containers, our intent was not to build double-decker tiny homes. It was to do a 40-footer with a 20-footer on top. And there was a shortage on shipping containers, and we had a certain parameter of time to get our build complete. So this chick goes to the builder, and I said, hey, listen, I would love to, it was to our contractor. I said, I'd love to give you the business. Since we cannot bring the shipping containers, I can absolutely have you build double deckers if you can stick within our budget. We allocated $75,000 for the 40-footer on a 20-footer. Can you do the same type of measurements, but do it in a stick built? And I got a thumbs up. He wanted the business. Things were a little bit slower for him. And so I feel like that was an absolute win. But yeah, you're pretty much double the cost if you go with a stick built.
That's powerful. That is powerful. So what type of pre-work is needed so let's say I do want a container home and I want to put it on this land that I have by this lake, right? What are we looking at? Like, what do you need to do to that property to get it ready? And roughly, I know it's going to differ, but what is it going to cost to do all that pre-work?
Okay, so let's delve into this really quick because people wonder, what is it that they have to do? Here's the most beautiful thing about it. You see RVs that are on the highway, right?
Right.
What if I told you that the way that you come in and you pull your RV up to an RV park is the same exact hookup as a shipping container? What do I mean by that? It is. So you have your 100 amp breaker in the back, same with an RV. You have your little hose that connects to the water, right? You have what do? You hook up to the electric pole. Guess what? You hook up to the electric pole. So you can imagine that this shipping container is an RV on wheels, period, end of story. Now, if you're going to go to a place where there is city utilities and there's approval there, you're just going to tie right in to the utilities there, to the electric, to the water, and to the gas. If not, you've got to go with a well and you've got to go with septic. So let's talk on that really, really quick. So on our first property where we brought those 3 shipping containers in, for us we already had a septic tank there because that's what ran our 3,000 square foot big lavish Airbnb home that was on the same 5 acres. So we couldn't tie into that because there wasn't enough septic. So we brought in our own septic, and that septic cost us $7,000 to handle all 3 shipping containers. Okay. Our
Okay.
well, check this out. Our well was already there for the house. So all we had to do to be able to tap into that well was to increase the power on the pump, which cost us $300.
It's not bad.
So all we had to do is bring the plumbing to each of those containers, meaning the piping and so forth. And then we already had a power pole out there because our neighbors had one right there as well as ours. And we just tied right into the power pole. The thing that was costly for us was that we brought in our roads. We brought in a road so that they could come down. It's like really cool, like foresty terrain. I wish I had a picture for you. We'll have to get one for you to post on this, but it was like this foresty like terrain where they come down their own road and there's trees and we have one there. And then you go down about 100 feet down by our big pond and we created our own pad. We built it up and built that road and a big pad to put those two on. So that cost us, I think we were about 22, no, I'm sorry, that's not correct. $19,000 to clear some trees and to bring in that road and build it up.
So 19,000 plus 7,000, that's 26,300. So 26,300 to get 3 20-footers up and running. And that's only because you had to build a road and take down some trees, correct?
Yep, build a road, create a big pad. I want to say that pad is probably like 70 feet by 40 feet so it's a good size of buildup of dirt and pad and pole. So listen, here's the truth. All you really need to do is have a flat surface. And then you can get those little concrete little pylons on each corner of the pad and you drop it down. That's it. You just don't want it in the dirt and degrade, you don't want it degrading.
Real quick, guys, if you're enjoying this show and want to help us grow, share, shoot us a 5-star rating, and follow the show on Apple or Spotify. My goal is to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger guests on the show to reach more like-minded real estate investors and help everyone be more bold and build more wealth. Now, back to the show.
Or you can have a cement pad and pour that cement pad, but that's going to be a little bit more costly. So you just don't want it on the ground with water and rain and everything else.
That makes sense. What about gravel? I'm assuming could you place it directly on the gravel, or are you still using like the piers?
Gravel drains, right? So water goes through the rocks as long as it has a place. You just don't want that water setting and your container sitting on water and dirt. You know what I mean? So as long as the gravel had some type of drainage so the water wasn't pooling, then you would be good. Yeah.
Can you finance these things?
Oh, such a great question. So let me tell you what we're doing right now for our clients that are buying these shipping containers from us. We are just in the works right now. We're almost complete and we will be able to offer financing up to $75,000. In the past, we've had everybody pay cash. So all of the buyers have paid cash for all of their shipping containers, but we're getting ready to launch on the financing. So this will be a big move, big, exciting move.
So I'm trying to think as an investor who wants to buy potentially 10 of these. And let's say I already have a great piece of land, but I have no experience working with Airbnb. Can you speak to how that process works? Like cleanings and turns and scheduling and everything around it?
Yeah. So I will tell you, Airbnb and VRBO are phenomenal, but there's 2 more that are really, really great. Booking.com and Expedia. Those are 2 where I don't want to get too lost in the weeds, but check this out. What I will tell you is that at one of our retreats, we were using Booking.com and Expedia, and our increase on our bookings was over 28%. Or 28% of the poll was coming from those 2 versus VRBO or Airbnb. All 4 of those, you can use all of them and they just charge you a fee, 3%, 6% of whatever the booking is. Super easy to set up. All you need is pictures, photographs, and location of where you are, and make sure your shipping container shows well. So if you're hearing this, go check out stayuncontained.com and you can at least see some of our pictures to see what it is that I'm talking about. The better it looks, the cooler it is. You want to create an experiential stay that people are dying to come and want to be a part of. So Definitely check that out. And so that's how you set that up. Now, as far as the cleanings, find somebody local in your area that would love to make $30 a clean. For my 20-foot containers, it's $30 a clean. And there's 2 shipping containers, the 2 smaller ones side by side. So on the weekends, for sure, they're going to be able to hit up both of those. And guess how long it takes to clean a 20-foot shipping container? Believe me, I got it dialed down. Less than 30 minutes.
It's not bad.
So basically, your person can make $30, or actually, I should say 25, because we have a $30 cleaning charge. 25 goes to the cleaner, and $5 is for the toilet paper and the marshmallows and the chocolate that we leave for them to make little s'mores around our bonfires. That's our $5 fee that we charge. So $25 for your cleaner for 30-minute clean. That's some good money, right?
Yeah, that's not bad.
So,
And who handles the laundry?
So same thing, the cleaner does
Okay.
as well. It's easy and convenient for ours because we have the big house up top. And so we've got in the little storage excess garage has got another laundry room in there that they can wash the sheets, but you always have 2. So when they come in, they pull out, they bring their extra pair of sheets and put those on. So they're not waiting for sheets to be cleaned, so to speak.
Is that
So
process automated?
Well, I've had my cleaners long enough, so they just know protocols. But yeah, you're going to have to find someone to wash your sheets for sure.
No,
If
I'm
you
saying
do the Airbnb.
when somebody leaves, their stay ends and you need to, get it. Do you have to manually get in contact with your cleaners, or is there some systems in place?
Oh, no. There's actually calendars and stuff that your cleaner will have their own calendar and they know when people are coming and going. It's
Gotcha.
automated. Let me tell you, when you get to the place of having something like such, it's not to brag, it's just to share. The goal should be to create multiple income streams for you and put aces in their places that know how, that can help lighten your load and help you get to the end goal. What's my end goal? My end goal is to collect the revenues from the Airbnb, but I want as least amount of hands-on as possible because that's where I am in my life. Other people, maybe they want that job and they want that extra money. Great, good for them. I don't want to have to touch it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to have to do a lot. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I've got a lot going on. So I make sure that I put incredible people in the right places. And for example, I've had one of my gals for 3 years now. She's been with me. She knows my properties up and down and knows how to run the shop with all the different people. And I take care of her. Right?
I love it. I've always wondered.
Wait, hold on. As a matter of fact, this is for all your listeners out there. Whoever your people are that make your life easier, that are your go-to aces that I just talked about, you make sure that you take care of them. And when I say take care of them, like this cute Elizabeth and her family, she's got 3 kids. This last summer, I took them on a cruise. As a matter of fact, I went with them and paid for their whole cruise, but enjoyed and just loved on them a little bit. Your key players, you best be taking care of and let them know how much you appreciate them and show them by your actions that you love and appreciate how they lighten your load. I have a heart full of gratitude for her and she knows that. But take care of your people because it's not always about money. It's about how you make them feel. Just remember that.
Yeah, and if you took me on a cruise, I'm never leaving. Like I'm working with you forever, right?
Right?
Can you speak on the Airbnb tax loophole?
As far as what?
So, as I understand it, I think it's tax code 179 and it's the only way that you can take passive income and write it off as against active income, right? And they call it the Airbnb loophole because if you're owner and you're operating Airbnbs, right, you're not a real estate professional where you can take your passive losses to write off your active losses, but you manage your Airbnb, well, then that passive income can offset, or your passive losses can offset your active income. You've never.
Well, hold on a second. I've been told, and for what I know, that you can get that real estate professional if you own an Airbnb. So you just have to have 750 hours a year,
Right.
15 hours a week, and that is easily doable if you're an owner of an Airbnb.
Are you utilizing that, or is that being passed down to your partners?
Heck yeah. No, I'm utilizing that all day long. But I've already had the status as well because of buying apartment buildings, right? We manage
Right.
apartment buildings. But somebody else who does not have apartment buildings, if they own real estate and they manage it, right? That's why it's important to have, if you can, 2 or 3 of these. So it's really easy to say, yes, she's putting in 15 hours a week into managing, oversight, and seeing. Then and only then can you write off that income earnings against another's W 2's pay. So, for example, let's just talk about it really quick. If you have a pediatrician and then you have the wife who is not, maybe she's a home mom, maybe she oversees the real estate, great. Where it starts to get a little bit touchy is if you have the attorney and you have the pediatrician and they both are full-time employees. That puts more of a red flag on you because they're saying, in the IRS's eyes, they're saying, well, how in the world do you have 15 more additional hours to oversight? So I will tell you, if you're going to do this, it's okay. What you need to do is get your book and your pen and writing every day what it is that you're doing and how much time you spent on it. How do I know this? Because one of my pediatrician dentists actually got audited because both
Ooh.
the wife and him worked. Well, guess what? He had his book of business with all of the times and hours, and he was doing all of his real estate stuff on the weekends. So he could totally make it fly and everything was good to go. So if you're somebody where both work W-2 jobs, you best be making sure that you're documenting those hours. You're not going to be in such a position, such a vulnerable position if one works W-2 and the other one does not. So
And you're
it is a
saying
little loophole.
three containers, that's the magic number?
I think it is because I think it's hard to say 15 hours for one shipping container.
Right, right.
But if you're oversighting the others and having to clean and oversight the cleaner and blah, 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 yes.
I've been trying to figure out how to, because I have a W-2, right? And I'm not a crazy high earner, but I make decent money. So trying to offset that, right? Like, how can I pay less in taxes? So
Yep.
this is something that I've been, trying to learn about as much as I can. And with the entry point being 35,000, this seems like a no-brainer way to get into this game and claim those tax advantages.
Yes, absolutely. So you can see why I'm integrating my children and getting them in, right? And why I have my 19-year-old. He's so gung-ho to start this company and to help, not start it because we've been doing it for a while, but really to grow it even more. So we're pretty
Yeah.
excited. I'm
So
excited.
what's your son's name?
Tyler Hudson.
Tyler. Shout out to Tyler, man. I'm excited to see what he can do with this. Heck yeah.
And the other big thing that we I may have told you this, Trae, but we started an affiliate plan or program, I should say, is because we want to incentivize for people to share the message that you really can be a real estate owner and make great cash flow with a shipping container. And so anybody that is referred over to Tyler Hudson, our company, Stay Uncontained, they get $1,000 for every shipping container referral they send our way. So that's always really, really helpful. And I have to say one more thing about that, though.
Yeah.
I shared with you my heart is for philanthropy. So let's just say, Trae, that you referred a client to us. They ended up buying. $1,000 allocation would go your way. $800 in your pocket and $200 to your charity of choice. So we want to help encourage and inspire others to give back and join join that. Just really trying to have a servant heart and do things that are going to help feed the world in a beautiful way.
I love it. I love it. So if you're listening and you want to invest in a shipping container, just tell them Trae sent you and I will find a good charity.
Well played, my friend. That's awesome.
Going back to the Airbnb thing, right? Can you kind of speak high level to the expenses versus, I mean, we already talked about the cleaning, right? But like what type of profit can you expect to make? What's your return on an investment with these things on Airbnb?
Yeah, no. So let's just do the math. I can tell you right now that my kids' Airbnbs are bringing in about $1,500 a month.
1,500.
So
Okay.
yeah, and $35,000 purchase price. I mean, I guess just do the math. There you have it. Is that 18? No, what is that? $1,500 a month times 12. Yeah, 18,000. $18,000 a month. You figure the the expenses on it, guys, they're just next to nothing. It's hard to even count them. I'm trying to remember what we had for ours. I want to say it was like less than 20% on your earnings. So you figure $4,000 maybe towards expenses. And then that's $14,000 of earnings divided by 35,000 purchase price. That's 40% return. Okay. So let's go ahead and maybe you do 18, maybe you do a $14,000 in earnings. And if I told you it was $35,000 for your shipping container, you have your delivery costs and then your hookup. So let's call that maybe another $6,000 just to be safe, right?
Okay.
Fair enough. So 35 plus 6,000, that's 41,000. So you divide that by 41,000, you're still at a 34% return. Guys, like, where can you get this? There's no way.
So one of my first episodes was with Cornelius Cannon, and he is setting up, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Fund My Deal, but it's a Reg CF, right? Is that something that you might plan on using to allow more people to invest in these communities who might not have the 35K up front?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Just as a matter of fact, I think that we really want to encourage an individual that can pay cash for it, first of all, because they're going to have a really, really great experience. If they're not having to service debt and they have their own cash, I just think that your earning power on those is really, really great. Why? Because interest rates are ridiculous right now, right? So I want to say you're still going to pay between 8 and 12% interest on that. So it's best to pay cash. If you can do it with getting a small loan, that's still going to be favorable. And I think that for me, I'm not looking to bring on investors to do this. I'm not looking to bring on small investors to buy the shipping containers for myself to put on communities. We're really just looking to continue selling the shipping containers, as well as finding land and putting our own shipping containers on those. And if we find the right people to work with, we may consider doing some joint ventures together, like I've already done previously. So.
Heck yeah. And you know what? That actually reminded me what our first conversation was about. And it was about infinite banking.
Yes.
And you know what? I think right after that, I got my whole life insurance policy. So I'm waiting for that to accumulate. But that might be not a bad option to pull from that to invest in a couple containers, because that'd be sick.
Yeah, your goal should be to do that. Anybody that's listening to this, I would tell you whole life, all the way, create your own family bank and get in the game of real estate investing. I do that big time with my kids as well as myself.
That's a whole nother episode.
I know. Seriously.
We're gonna have you come back because that's that whole concept is just crazy. And
it is crazy. A lot of my clients are coming in, they're getting their whole life policy. I'm helping them put all that together, and then they just go circulate it and they're buying real estate.
You're selling these policies now?
I've been licensed since 2008. And it was really just to help with my own family. And then other people started asking about it. And so I've been doing that for a few years now, of helping other people better position themselves financially.
I'll have to. So I'll drop Erin's information in the description. So if you want to learn or are interested in whole life, I wholeheartedly recommend it as well. Reach out to her. My last question around these is the exteriors, right? For somebody who maybe doesn't like the look of a raw shipping container, what are your options there?
Yeah. So here's the deal. We have a couple different things that we're doing to the shipping containers right now. The first thing is, up top, we actually make an additional living area where you will have a balcony up there, and it will have the sides and the rails on there. And then you'll have a stair, just like a ladder, like a kid's ladder that you literally are climbing up to get to the top of the shipping container. And then you can opt to clad yours or a portion of it where they have the wood that goes halfway up or
Okay.
all the way up on the shipping container. Usually you don't do every side of the shipping container. You just want to change that and give it some variety. And so you can actually opt for cladding. Yep. It's the
And
wood. That's what that's called. You're looking like you're, what is that? It's just
yeah,
the wood that they put on the outside, and it gives it
like
a
this
little
right
bit.
here. This, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Cool story about this wood. This is actually 120 years old.
Wow. Yep. It gets real costly when you start doing the cladding stuff, but we've got them without the cladding as well, and they look fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really about what you do on the outside, right? So like our shipping containers on the outside, we have some fake grass that's there, like a 10 by 10 piece of grass. We have a hammock out there. We have cornhole right next to it. So it's like we have a fire pit and some chairs, loungy chairs out there. So you just make it your own little feel. And then we also have where you can pay a little bit extra to have an overhang covering on there.
Oh,
So
nice. A little awning. That's helpful. Here
awning.
in Texas, it gets so hot. So that's ideal. Heck yeah.
Yep. That's exactly.
I've been thinking about one, like my backyard is small, but throwing a 20-footer back there and getting a muralist to come out and give me like a dope painting on the side of it just to make it pop a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now, what about solar? Can you add solar to these and just drop one in the middle of the woods?
You sure can. We don't do that, but you absolutely could do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And where, well, no. Okay. Well, that is all the questions I had. You are crazy impressive, right? Like 100%. The things that you're doing and things that the things that you have accomplished are just massively impressive. And I know that the shipping container business is going to blow the F up.
We're so excited.
Yeah. I want to open up the floor to you though. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Any nuggets to drop?
I don't think I have anything more. I think with everything that we touched on, it's very clear that I don't let grass grow under my feet. And I just want to encourage you. I want to inspire you just to rise up and go for your dreams. And whatever it is you desire, I just want to let you know you can have it. And depending on how bad you want it and whether you're willing to take action, we will see the fruit. If you rise to the occasion, level up. But I promise you, you will not regret it. The higher I climb on the ladder, the more excited I get, because things where I think, oh my gosh, I'm at my ceiling, and then I break the ceiling. It's not just about me. It's about my kids. They're watching mama's moves, and it gives them more hope. It gives them more confidence for them to know if mama did it, so can I. And so don't just inspire yourself, inspire all those around you and go for it.
I love it. And I'm just happy to know you and be able to watch. So
Trae, I just love you. You have such a great, wonderful heart, and you're such a good human. It's an honor to know you as well. I feel like I've known you for forever. Let's just put it that way.
Forever. We go way back. We go way back. We actually went to first grade together. Remember Miss Smith?
She was the worst teacher ever.
All right, cool. Well, again, Erin, thank you so much. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. Again, all Erin's information will be in the description. I'm Trae Jacobs. This is Dr. Erin Hudson. We out.